Hey guys, sorry about that. It's just these 10-minute limits on these videos really can kill me sometimes. I try and do it as quick as I can with these Q reviews, but, from week to week, I'm gonna just try and do what I can. So this week, it's obvious to say I didn't make the 10-minute time limit, but here I am back with September 3rd Q reviews part dos. So to wrap up this Paul Verhoeven triple feature, the third film that I had gotten was 2000's Hollow Man. So, according to the Netflix synopsis, cocky researcher Sebastian Kane, played by Kevin Bacon, is working on a project to make living creatures invisible. He's so confident he's found the right formula that he tests it on himself and begins to vanish. Woo! Problem is, no one can figure out how to make him visible again. Soon his invisibility drives Kane mad with terrifying results. The special effects are a knockout as Kane fades away organ by organ in director Paul Verhoeven's thriller. Now, this film, I have to say, I thought this was a pretty cool film, actually. And the one thing that I want to say right off the bat about this is that I really like the casting of everybody. Now, watching this film, it's really like a reunion of all really fine actors by any time period's standards. I mean, Elizabeth Shue is one of my favorite actresses. She's in this, in addition to Josh Brolin. But there seems to be an '80s reunion of some sort, which is pretty cool. I mean, Kevin Bacon. All three of these stars really made a big mark on the industry early on in their careers in the '80s. Kevin Bacon with Footloose. Elizabeth Shue with one of my favorite movies, The Karate Kid, and Adventures in Babysitting, and Josh Brolin with his first film role in The Goonies. And it's interesting because Paul Verhoeven, one of his most memorable films, and could possibly, and actually is my favorite Verhoeven film, is the 1987 cult classic RoboCop. So it's pretty funny. It's a real '80s cinema reunion of sorts in this film. But anyway, back to the film at hand. Hollow Man, like I said, was actually a pretty fun movie. I thought the special effects were actually pretty good looking for their time. I mean, it was only 9 years ago now that you think about it, but it was pretty cool how Kevin Bacon's character was going the different stages of descending into invisibility. It would kind of take away his skin, and then you would see the cartilage and the bones and organs, and then eventually just nothing. So that was pretty cool. And I mean, it's not the best special effects. I mean, easily by today's standards, you can be like, oh, that looks so amateur now. But, you have to recall this was 9 years ago when things like this weren't really being done. And I mean, honestly, as much as the technology is better, I don't think I've ever seen a film, do, use the effects like they had in this one, where they're showing, like, the cartilage and, somebody going invisible like that. So, like I said, I thought the special effects were really cool looking, and the story was pretty good. I mean, I did like the fact that this was, when you strip it down, the core, it's really about a scientist who kind of goes deeper and deeper, descending deeper and deeper into madness as, once he becomes invisible, and there's really no way to return back to visibility. So it is really interesting to see his descent into madness. It's pretty great. And once he becomes invisible, he starts to lose grip, with his sanity, and he begins targeting his fellow scientists on the team who are trying. They can't really keep it, secretive much longer that he's gone invisible. They need to tell the other members of the board who are in charge of this confidential project. But the fact that Bacon's character is losing grip, he doesn't want that to happen. He wants the project to stay between the groups, so he begins picking off the scientists one by one. And at that point in the movie, Verhoeven really does a good job at subjecting the audience through Kevin Bacon's eyes by doing some great pov shots. So there's a lot of moments in the film where it becomes a real a stalk and slash movie. Kevin Bacon's character is pretty brutal in this movie. I mean, there are certain scenes where as he's picking off his fellow scientists, he's really getting pretty brutal with them and murdering them in pretty gruesome ways, which was awesome. But needless to say though, towards the end, I guess the last act, it was kind of dragging itself on a little, for a little, a little too much. So I have to say that I mean, like, the last two people standing, Elizabeth Shue and Josh Brolin, pretty much do all they can to him. I mean, they flamethrow that through him. They electrocute him. They hit him with metal, metal objects and stuff. And I mean, I accept the fact that like he's invisible, but dude, like you're invisible, but you're still human. You still feel like a human. So it's like, how much do you have to go to before you can just friggin' die already? So I mean, the last 15-20 minutes is kind of like, okay, like die, dude, like like let this kind of roll out. So I think the last 20 minutes kind of hurt the film in that respect. But I mean, it's it was a fun way to kill 2 hours. I certainly don't think it's the most memorable movie, but like I said, it's definitely a good way to kill 2 hours. I give this 3 out of 5 stars. Well, that wraps up this week's batch of Q reviews, my Paul Verhoeven Triple Feature. So, as always, I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek at next Thursday's Q reviews. And I got to tell you, as I was finishing the reviews for this week, I really just couldn't wait to spill the beans on next week's reviews. And just to keep in mind for all you guys, when I do these Q reviews, I'm renting movies that I've never seen before, because personally I don't think there's any point in me renting movies that I've seen, because if I like it enough, I'll just buy it in my collection and whatnot. So every movie that I'm renting, I'm really giving you guys a real thorough, first-hand review, coming in, never seeing the movie before, so I think that makes these Q reviews a little bit more interesting, because it's not like I can go on and on because I've loved these certain movies, for years and years. It's just kind of like I love it or I hate it, and that's the way it is. So, that said, next week's Q reviews are going for another theme that I put together, and next week's theme is the darker side of childhood. So next week's 3 films are going to be consisting of 1983's Something Wicked This Way Comes, 1985's Return to Oz, and 1987's The Garbage Pail Kids. I just compiled these 3 films, and I've heard a lot about all 3 of them, so I'm really looking forward to getting these and having the review ready for you guys next Thursday. So, as always, be sure to check that out. I appreciate all the subscribers and all you guys for tuning into me, so continue subscribing, continue watching, leave feedback. I love hearing from you guys, so I'll see you guys next Thursday. Thanks again for tuning in.